All right, Sideways Stories from Wayside School, written by Louis Sachar, Chapter 23, Allison. Allison had pretty blonde hair and always wore a blue coat. Her coat was the same color as her eyes. She was best friends with Rondi. Rondi also had blonde hair, but she was missing her two front teeth, and Allison had all of her teeth. Allison used to say that she knocked Rondi's teeth out. Allison was very pretty, so all the boys in Mrs. Jewls' class teased her, especially Jason. But Allison would always say something like, "Leave me alone or I'll knock your teeth out, just like I did to Rondi." The boys did not bother her after that. One day, Allison brought a tangerine for lunch. She took off the peel in one piece. Miss Mush, the lunch teacher, walked up to her. "Allison, may I have your tangerine?" she asked. Well, Miss Mush always gave food to the children, so Allison was happy to give her tangerine to Miss Mush. Miss Mush shoved it in her mouth and swallowed it in about 4 seconds. Allison left the lunchroom and walked down to the library. The lunchroom was on the 15th story. The library was on the 7th. Allison already had her book. She just went to the library because it was nice and quiet there. The librarian walked up to Allison. "What are you reading?" she asked. Allison told her the name of the book. "That sounds like a good book," said the librarian. "I never read that one. May I borrow it?" Well, the librarian always lent books to the children, so Allison was glad to return the favor. She gave the librarian the book, then walked downstairs outside to the playground. All of Allison's friends were playing freeze tag. Allison didn't feel like playing. She reached into the pocket of her blue coat and took out a tennis ball. She bounced it a couple of times on the ground. Louis came up to her. "Hi, Allison," he said. "May I play with your tennis ball?" Well, Louis always gave balls to the children, so Allison happily gave her ball to Louis. Louis threw the ball all the way to the other side of the playground and then ran after it. Now Allison didn't feel like doing anything. Jason ran up and tagged her. "You're frozen," he said. "Get out of here before I knock your teeth out," Allison shouted. Jason shrugged his shoulders and left. Allison went back inside and up the 30 flights of stairs to Mrs. Jewls' room. The lunch period was not over yet, but Allison didn't feel like doing anything else. She had given her food to the lunch teacher, her book to the librarian, and her ball to the yard teacher, so she just went to the classroom. Mrs. Jewls was there. "Oh, Allison, I'm glad you're here," said Mrs. Jewls. "I'm having trouble with a math problem. Maybe you can help." "Sure," said Allison. Mrs. Jewls always helped the children with their problems. Allison was happy to help. "How do you spell chair?" asked Mrs. Jewls. Chair, said Allison. "Oh, yes, that is right," said Mrs. Jewls. "I knew it wasn't Chare, but I just couldn't remember the right way." "That's not a math problem," said Allison. "That's spelling." "Yes, you are right again," said Mrs. Jewls. "I always get the two mixed up." The bell rang and the lunch period was over. Allison could hear the children running up the steps. "Allison," said Mrs. Jewls, "you learned a very important secret today, and I don't want you to tell the other children, not even Rondi." "What was that?" asked Allison. She didn't even know she had learned a secret, but she loved secrets. "You learned that children are really smarter than their teachers," said Mrs. Jewls. "Oh, that's not a secret," said Allison. "Everybody knows that." All right, the end.